We are celebrating 20 years of Sushiraw, 20 years of excellency in music, and 20 years for me of business, artistic, complete, and evolving iterations after iterations of reinventions in not only the way I make music, the way I do the business of music, the way I apprehend collaborations with artists. And it's been just changing and changing and changing for 20 years. In 20 years, I'm not sure the amount of albums that I have released, the amount of songs that I have released. I know it's more than 1,000. Albums, I'm not even sure. Albums that I worked on, like listen, it's coming to the fact where inside of the Zouk, Kizomba, and Compass Fair, it's gonna be hard to find somebody that worked the way I did and that revolutionized all three genres and even coupe décalé the way that I did. Somebody that has been on the forefront of just coming in and kicking the doors the way we did as a team. And listen, it started with people going behind me. You know, me, I was like, what do they want? Why are all these people behind me? And, you know, I never wanted to be the leader. I never wanted to be the leader of Zouk, to be the leader of Compa, to be the leader of Kizomba, to be the leader of Coupe Décalé, to be the spokesperson for all these genres. I never wanted to even be the leader of artists. I was just trying to do my thing. Listen, I just wanted to do some beats. Then I rapped a little bit, and then everybody, all the girls started like yelling. And all the guys were like, yo, who's this guy? Then after that, a few shows later, a few hundreds of shows later, around 96, 95, 96, I'm walking with the organized players, my sister EK, Hamilton, and other people, Matt Houston, and naturally, a lot of us are meeting with Nichols, Ali Angel, all these guys, and some of these guys, they get behind me and they're like, okay, what do we do? And me, I'm like, what you mean, what do we do? Yeah, what do we do? I'm like, guys, I don't know. I'm doing my thing. You guys do your thing. But everybody was like always waiting for my opinion because I was making the beats for everyone at that time. Philly was doing beats, Matt was doing beats, and then all of us were going in different direction. Ali Angel, of course, was doing beats, Nichols. But then after that, everybody went to their directions to do their first solo albums. And for a long time, I didn't want the leadership because I didn't want to have the responsibility of leading people because I was not even sure that it would work. I was sure of what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to have the responsibility of these people following me. By 1998, signed my first contract, released my first album, I'm Ready. Then released my second album in 1999 after 6 months in New York. 2001, I leave the label and I want to be independent, but in reality, I don't want to be part of the music business anymore because I realized in 2001 that it was disgusting. And I didn't want to do business the way business is done. I didn't want to be exploited, and I didn't want to exploit people either. So I was like, you know what? I'm done. So I decided to just move to Belgium because I met the mother of my kid at that time. So I moved to Belgium in her house, and I was just chilling. She was going to work. I was just sleeping. And I had my computer with me, and I was just making beats. I just wanted to be back to what I was loving at that time, which was before that, which was making hip hop beats. So I changed my name to Angel City 2, and I start releasing my instrumentals on a website called mp3.com, and that's all I wanted to do. And I was fine like this. I was selling those beats for rappers that wanted to do demos on mp3.com, and people could do. I would do compilation of my instrumentals, and I would just sell them for $10 on the internet in 2001 from Belgium. And I was not really interested in singing anymore, making music, and yeah, I was done with that whole thing. In 2002, my manager tells me, "Yeah, listen, we have a show for you in Paris. Can you take the train and come to Paris?" I was, yeah, of course. So I take the train. I go to Paris. I go do 4 or 5 shows, make some money, all good. And then after one day I'm in Paris, I'm walking around the center of Paris. And one cop stops me. I think he was from the West Indies, from his accent. And he's like, "Sir." And I'm like, "Yes, officer." He's like, "Vous savez pourquoi je vous arrête?" I'm like, "I have no idea." He's like, "Il est temps." I'm like, "Il est temps?" He's like, "Yes, it's time." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry, officer. I have no idea what you're talking about." And he tells me, "It's time for you to release a new album. We have been waiting since 1999 for you to save the game. It's time." And I was kind of shocked, but I heard his message as if it was the message of everybody. And even me, I was like, it's time to get out of my lethargy. And it's time to get to work. So I didn't want to be signed to labels anymore. So the only way to do it was to to do my own thing in my own label. So because I did a compilation called Caribbean Soul with a few artists, I kind of knew more or less what I could do and how I could do it, and how I could find people to do a new business model where I would take care of everything that is artistic, and they would take care of everything that is financial and distribution, and we would do 50-50. I was looking for a partner like this to start something new. And because everybody all these years were telling me, we want to be behind you, I had all the material I needed. So by that time, my mother was leaving our Paris apartment. She was moving. I don't know if my parents were going back to Congo already, or if they were buying the new apartment in Levallois. I think they were buying the new apartment in Levallois, but we had to move from the place where we grew up. So at that time, the name of my label was Caddy Baby. Caddy Baby was my mother's name is Catherine. We call her Makati. I mean, they call her Makati, and so I'm Caddy's Baby. So Caddy Baby was the name that I wanted to do as a label, etc. That's what I was using when I was doing some logos, and I was thinking, oh, maybe one day I will have a label. I was saying Caddy Baby in my raps, etc. But then I was like, I want a better name. I want something like that represent who I am. And at that moment, put some rainbows in the chat. At that moment, since we are moving from the old house and I'm about to find my new apartment, in reality, as I'm cleaning my bedroom in my mom's apartment, and in my head, I'm like, I have to find a new name for a label, but I have no idea. Then I find an old album of an artist that I loved at that time. She was a female rapper from Sweden called Nene Sherry. And her album was named, let me see if I can find the album. There it is. Let me see if I can. There you go. This was her album. And the name of this album, oh, that's not the name. That was just the cover art. Yeah, it seemed that was the cover art. But the name of this album that I used to listen all the time, there was a track called Man Child that I loved in there. And as I'm listening to her album, right? I mean, I'm not listening to the album. I'm just holding the CD out of all my stuff. And the name of the album was Raw Like Sushi. And I was like, oh my God. Yes. Raw Like Sushi. That's the name of my label. And Raw Like Sushi, why? Because what I do is raw like sushi. From the heart, straight, without alteration, without people coming to say, oh, it has to sound like this for the radio, or it has to be this, or it has to be that. No, I want to create stuff and give it to people raw. Just, sorry. Just like sushis. And Sushiraw,